Welcome to the Business Bada Revolution. I'm your host, Pat Honiotes. We're here to talk about doing business from the inside out because being an entrepreneur shouldn't suck. Remember, business badasses are made, not born. Welcome to the show. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Pat Honiotes with Business Bada Revolution. And I always like to put business from the inside out ahead of that. And I have to remember this is the podcast, not something else. And so, Pat Honiotes with Business Bada Revolution. And Lord love a duck, we have a lady from Canada today, right?
No, actually, I'm from Ohio in the U.S.
Oh, Lord. Well, there we go. First faux pas, and that's all right. So I'd like you to meet my friend Lori. Good morning, Lori. How are you this morning?
Thrilled to be with you, Pat. I'm a big fan. Yeah, well, I'm happy.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, Lori is one of my renegades, one of my rascals and renegades. And what I mean by that is a lot of work. It's different kind of work with a rascal. Okay. It's and it's because you have to really think out of the box. You have to expect the unexpected. I also have those clients that are not renegades, but are really cool people. But I wanted to expose you. I'm making you sound like a disease, Lori.
Not at all.
I wanted to expose you to someone that is just, well, she's an odd duck, and you all know I love odd ducks. So, Lori, would you tell us a little bit about what you do and how that applies to business from the inside out?
We are sisters under the skin, my darling, because my business is called the Goodbye Good Girl Project, because I figured out a while ago that the reason that we humans are miserable, even when we're doing kind of okay or even great, is that we keep following everybody else's rules. And we haven't figured out how to follow our own. And even create our own. And it's crazy. And I'm a really good rule follower, but I figured out a long time ago how to start breaking them and claiming my freedom, my voice, my outrageousness, my renegaded badasseriness, and it's way more fun.
It is way more fun. It's also more productive. Oh
my God, yes.
Yes. Okay, so one of the exercises that I do in with my clients and in my groups is called Write Your Own Rule Book. And how we start off with that is, all right, what are all the rules you live by? Now, throw them in the trash and write your own. Now, obviously, I don't want them to stand up and start swearing in the church of their choice. That's not a rule I want them to break. However, it's called, I help people do it their way. And part of that, Lori, is for them to understand how they're wired, how they came in, how they think, what their patterns are. And most of the time, people don't really know that. So I'd like to hear how you approach that.
How people are wired. Can you say just a little bit more about, give me an example of somebody you've worked with?
Sure. I was on a group call with my coach one time, and there were other people on the call. Obviously, it's a group call, Pat. Okay. And he was supporting me in writing some copy. And it was like, Lord love a duck, you got to change, you got to come to this course, that kind of thing. And there was a gentleman, no, it was his wife on that course, that got really upskittled because it wasn't professional. And what he said was, if it's not this, it won't work for her because that's not how she's wired. I'm not wired as the professional. Now, I can be professional, okay, but that's not how I think. That's not how I be. And so what I try and do is when I'm working with my clients is I don't try and do it, we do it, is find out how they're wired. What's their pattern? What's their history? What brought them to this place? And how are they not living up to that? You start getting all professional on me in terms of copy and marketing, and I'll lose people like crazy. But it also, I get the wackos, I get the people that think differently, I get the people that think outside of the box, but it also keeps the other ones away that wouldn't want to work with me anyway. And I do that through a process called um, the PhD or the leadership PhD. And so it's a thing that I use. But I
Oh.
also know that you work with folks that think out of the box as well. So why don't you say some more about that?
Actually, we are all stuck in all kinds of boxes, and they get more and more hidden the more we start to find them. Then we're like, we stumble across one and go, wow, what the heck? So the way I work with people is I don't, they'll tell me, but I don't come from where did you start and what are you thinking? Instead, I get them to speak and I get them up on their feet. First, we write something together that is a story of theirs so that memorization is not the thing, but we're still going to write it out because what that's going to do is it's going to reveal
Yes.
where they're actually stuck, right? Where
Yes.
what they're
Yes.
actually thinking, where they're coming from an emotional perspective. And when it comes to being free, you have to be you have to feel that you can go in straight into your strength if you choose. We don't even know that we have natural strengths emotionally and physically. We just like internally physically, right? So when I get women up, and I work primarily with women, though I don't turn men away, but my marketing is for women. Um, then when I get you on your feet and you start speaking, I can tell. I can tell when you get a hitch in your giddy up, and I'll check.
Yeah. I get it. I get
Right.
so
And I'll say, yeah, where are you? What's happening? And we change it so that they are strong. They do feel strong and they go, I can be myself. Yes, you can.
so that's from the inside out. I get it. All right. So I want to do a little bit of history with you, please. You weren't always this way.
Well, I
What was
did
the
come in this way, but then I got socialized out of it.
exactly? That's exactly where I was going. You know, we're taught not to feel. We're taught to fit into a box, all of that. So, Lori, what was the straw that broke the camel's back for you that said, "Oh, hell no. Making my own rules." Was there a specific incident or a specific time when you said, "Mm-mm, this isn't going to work anymore"?
It's actually been a lifelong determination to be 100% authentic before I get out of here.
Okay, but you weren't, it wasn't when you were 3 or 5,
No.
probably. That's what I want to know that because people are interested in that is what's going to turn the switch? What's going to turn the switch? What's going to give me permission? Do you have a
Okay.
story about
I
that?
do. I
Okay.
do. I do. Um, so I decided that I wanted to go into acting because I had acted when I was like in first grade and I was crazy about it. I was like, this is amazing. Plus, I realized that acting is about being 100% authentic right out loud and that it's the one place I have permission to be a rebel. So, it's the place that people want me to be real and everybody's going to go, oh, bravo, instead of please stop. So, excuse me. So I went into a school. Terrible idea, because if you go into
I hear you.
if you go into a conservatory, conservatories I learned um, want to break you down. They want to break you out of yourself, which is not a good idea. And but what happened for me was that in coming out of that, I said no, never again,
How old were
never
you?
again.
How old were you?
I was in my early 40s.
Oh, see, that's what I love. And that's what I want people to hear is that following the rules can keep you chained for decades. And until you reach that spot to where you go, "Oh, hell no," that's where you're going to be. And then is no, this is not going to happen anymore. Okay, so
Yeah.
tell me this. What do people come to you with? What are your most primary problems that people give you for themselves?
There's two different sides of this. Beg your pardon. One of them is for public speaking. because
Okay.
women, especially, we get caught in shame. We get caught in, we can speak in one particular instance, but in other instances we go, oh dear God, you can see me, and you'll see all the things I blame myself for. And so people come to me for that.
Okay.
uh, CEOs, mostly CEOs, people who either
Okay.
are in, well, not so much corporations, actually, people who are womenpreneurs who've
Okay.
started businesses. Yeah.
Okay.
And the other is women who have failed over and over and over again at starting businesses because they can't figure out why. And I know why. And it has nothing to do with us personally. It hasn't got a thing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that the feminine, all of the stuff that is the underpinning and the throbbing life of any business, is not shared with us as having any merit or worth when it's everything. And instead, we're supposed to go, let me follow 1, 2, 3 on the masculine path and not look at what allows these gurus, mostly men, to succeed. They're not succeeding just because they're brilliant. They're not.
See, here's the thing. I come at this is going to be
Frustrating.
fun because you can handle it. I come at
Oh,
it
yeah.
from a very different point of view. And that point of view is, I would tell you, it has everything to do with you. Every bit of it has to do with you. It
And we're
has
both
nothing.
right. Keep
Yeah,
talking.
it's not, it has nothing to do with men. It has nothing to do with rules per se. What it has to do with is, well, I have something called a wound-driven belief, and every single person has one.
Hmm.
And that's what keeps us
Hmm.
that's what holds us back. And my whole point of view is my whole theory is, you're going to keep getting pulled back until you find out what that wound-driven belief is.
Okay, that
So,
makes total sense.
an example, I'll give myself as example. I don't mind doing that anymore. Mine was when I first started, I'm a stupid, worthless piece of shit. Now, I didn't know that. So not knowing that, I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't.
Right.
So when that was made obvious to me, then I could start working to where that began to work in my favor because of all the things that had held me back from. And so again, I think it's just a different point of view, but it's deeper. And a lot of people don't like their wound driven belief. Well, of course not, you know? So it,
Absolutely.
and so it's almost like, okay, I would do the wound driven belief and then we'd send them to you for the other stuff.
Actually, it's if you go into the spiritual and the systematic or the systemic, you and I are on exactly the same line because everything, I mean, everything comes from us.
Oh,
Everything.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
100. I mean, we don't like to think about that and we don't want to admit it. Oh my God, you mean my particular setting? I call them emotional settings. My emotional settings brought that horrific event to me. You're telling me I wanted that? No, I'm not telling you that you wanted that on a human level. I'm telling you that your settings were of a specific energetic family that drew that kind of thing to you, and
So,
that you have the power to switch it.
so on a conscious level, you're not wanting. I had someone say to me the other day, I'm resistant. I mean, he was bound and determined that he was going to be resistant. And I said, okay. He says, well, why is that? And I said, because at some level, you don't want to succeed. At some level, you've got a belief that says you can't, you won't, and you shouldn't. And that's really hard to hear. And here's the thing, until you can get to that and start switching it around, they won't. And that's when I say, ready for me yet? Because all we would do is fuss.
Oh, that's really good. That's really, really good. Yeah, and the work that I do, because I do it on many different levels, but the one that I put out there the most regularly is not the spiritual one for people who want to work one-on-one with me. Because a lot of people, like you say, they don't want to look that closely. But if you don't look that closely, this world is going to tear you up.
And
Um,
here's what's
no good.
interesting is, I've even worked with very successful people that just want more. And so then I have one gentleman in particular that thought it was wrong to want more. And, oh, no, 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 no. It's okay to want more. But that's one of those things that we've been taught, not to be selfish, not to be, it's okay to want more. But here's the thing about that is that they also have a wound-driven belief that tells them they shouldn't have more, and we still have to go to that level for them to climb higher. Make sense?
Complete sense. And I would question that as well in this way. I'm always wanting to define my terms. I want more. Why? First of all, what do you want more of?
Yep.
Second of all, is it going to really uplift you? Or is it just one of those things where you're following, like, I've got to have more in order to feel like I have worth?
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Okay, so tell me, when you run into a bump or you run into a roadblock, do a comparison thing for me if you can or if you would. And that is at age 35, what thought would have gone through your mind? And at age, how old are you? Is that okay?
67.
Oh, you're a pup. Okay. So what thought would have gone through your mind at 35 and what thought would have gone through you at 67? Two different thoughts, I'm clear. What would they be?
I'm laughing because I had 40 years of clinical depression and anxiety. And what went through my head? Oh, shit. Like, oh my God. Because I would instantly go into depression and anxiety.
Yes.
There was an absolute base belief. There was a hole in my boat. And I really didn't feel that life was supportive of me in any way whatsoever.
So what's a thought you might have had? I want you to tell me a thought because there might be folks out there that can relate to just the straight thought. It was, oh shit, what?
Oh shit, I'm doomed.
Okay, there you go. Perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. No wonder you were depressed, right? Okay,
Yes.
now you're 67. You're running into a roadblock or a bump. What's your first thought, Lori?
I need to go work on this.
Okay.
And let me be clear about that because that's not sexy. Let me go shift this.
Yes.
Let me go because I can shift it like this.
Yes.
Now that I know how to be here, I know how to tune into my emotional body. I know how to make those shifts, honestly, not just like some, I don't know, affirmation of, I've got $1 million. Bullshit. No, you don't. It's like, I know how to make the small 1% steps and change it up now, not in a week, not after a year of misery. Now.
Yes. Yes. And see if you agree with this. You'd have to do that in each moment. Each time it comes up in the moment.
Well, that's the best time, but I don't always. Let me be honest. This is not about perfection. This is not about becoming some shining light of perfection. This is about showing what we are able to do. And so, like, sometimes I'm just an idiot, okay? Sometimes I just fall into this thing and I'm like, I'm just going to be miserable for a day or two or three. And then I sit at the end of whatever that moment is, I go, when are you going to get off your ass and do something? And then I get off my ass and within 5-10 minutes, I'm good. And I'm like, ugh, you are insane. And so the time gets less and less and less that I will allow for that.
And here's what I'd like to point out to our listeners is this didn't happen for you from, overnight. You had to do a lot of introspection and all of that. So,
yeah. And questioning. I want to say for me, questions are sacred. If you can be curious and investigative about why and how but not, this is where the line is really tough for women, especially. I don't think men are exempt, but women especially are taught that we have to be a certain way, think a certain way, act a certain way. And so we can tend to blame ourselves and go, let me figure out what's wrong with, no, it's not about that. It's just the other side. It's like, that's interesting.
Okay, so I have another point of view. And I don't think we can do this by ourselves.
No.
Okay.
Well, No, and yes, no, we need each other, and yes, it's up to you.
Yes. I'm just saying when we do that, no, I hear you. I get it. When we do the investigative work, let me back up just a little bit. I always say I won't hire a coach for myself if they don't have a coach.
Okay.
Will not do it
Okay.
because, as my coach would say, it's like trying to read the label on a bottle from the inside. You can't see
Okay.
yourself clearly. And so I think we need someone that can, with integrity and professionalism, show us where the stuff is and show us how to do it differently. Not to depend on them, but to see more clearly and to help us see more clearly.
I have a therapist, and she's all about the nervous system. So she knows about like the plasticity of the brain and all of that kind of stuff that I've come to. But I've had therapists throughout most of my life. It's just that the therapy itself didn't heal me. It helped me. It kept me from being
Yeah.
dead,
Yeah.
right?
No, I hear
And
you. I
it
get it.
and the group therapy that I was in for 11 years, at the same time as I was in individual therapy, starting at 31, was was just like attitude changing and all kinds of things. But
And see, I can see you in group therapy. Okay, only because not because you're so deranged you need it, but with your personality, you like the group atmosphere, okay?
yes,
I like the individual stuff because I have a philosophy about some groups is that I when I was doing individual therapy with my patients, with my clients, I would refer them to some groups, but I only did that for a short time because what they didn't have when they went there, they had when they came out. They were
what
picking
did,
up they were
what did
picking
they
up
have?
other people's stuff. Now, that wasn't their fault. That was the person that was running the group. And so I've had not such a good experience with group. But that doesn't mean that they're all bad or that it's always going to happen. But I really like the one-on-one, but I like going deep and fast and all of that. And I think you can do a combination, which it sounds like you've done.
I do a combination, absolutely. And I like the one-on-one. It has to, for me to really enjoy it, the person who comes to me has to be damn determined.
Yes. Yes. I always say this is not for wusses. If you're really if you're really
No.
after what it's going to take and what it means, you don't. It's not for wusses. You're going to have to look at it.
And it's not
So,
that I'm mean. It's not that I'm mean or anything. I'm not. People feel extremely comfortable revealing things to me. I'm not asking, but like they feel very comfortable because they know they can sense they can trust me, and indeed they can, and that helps open the doors for them to come to themselves. It's
see
powerful.
see what I love is I'm more polarizing, okay?
Yeah.
Which means there are people that could not handle me under any circumstances and that's fine. It just means I'm not for them. And now I have a warm and fuzzy person I can send them to. And that is not a put down. Please don't hear that as a put down. It's
Well,
just,
I'm getting a little rougher as the years go by.
and
But
see,
I'm not, but I'm more like Kali, okay? The goddess Kali, who is all about killing the ego. Kali,
okay.
the goddess Kali wears a necklace of human skulls, and she has a tongue, a black tongue that comes all the way.
Oh,
It's not
Lord.
because she's out to kill you. She's out to kill your ego, meaning all the false things you put in front of yourself. So,
Okay.
I'm not going to let you get away with things, but I feel that we women especially have been so sensitized to being shamed and all of that that I'm sensitive to starting the conversation from you're safe here, and then I'm not letting you get away with that. Step into yourself.
Okay. I can hear that. I can hear that.
So yeah, a little more soft and fuzzy, but I'm still not
Yeah.
letting you get away
No,
with
no, no, no.
anything.
That soft and fuzzy doesn't mean you're a wuss. It just means I always tell people she's nicer than I am. Or I'll say that about my assistant. They're nicer than I am. Work with them. And it's just, my mother used to tell me, do you have to be so brutally frank? And I go, mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mostly I'm brutally Pat. Frank is not, I can't identify with. But anyway, that was a corny joke. Okay. What is one thing or two things that you would like our listeners to take away from our talk today? Two
Pulling from our
concepts.
talk today.
Two concepts,
I
Lori.
I would want them to take away one from me and one from you, or two from me?
Two from you. Two from
Two
you.
from me. Okay. First of all, you've been chained your entire lives. And get angry, get ticked off, get determined. Get determined to find your answers, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And no matter how many hundreds of thousands of dollars you spend on some coach or some program or whatever, you still have to find those answers that resonate with you. So that's number one.
Awesome. Okay. And number two, my friend?
Number two is I'm trying to, I get so in the moment, I forget what we talked about. But I would say for sure, get investigative, get curious about who you are.
Okay.
Not self-blaming, but get curious.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All righty. So how can people reach out to you? How can people get a hold of you, Lori?
I have a website, goodbyegoodgirl.com.
I love that.
Thank you. I'd love to tell you the story about how that happened, by the way, how that name came, if we have time. But if not, I'll just keep going.
We have a minute. Go ahead.
We have a minute. Okay. So there was a man named Bill, and I can't remember his last name. And but this years ago, he had one of those massive workshops, 400 people. He said, do you want to start a business, or do you want to start something that outlasts you, outlives you? We all went, outlives us. We're all, we want to do that. He said, okay, here's the 3 questions to ask yourself. And this is really good for your clients. Who is your client? So I didn't have clients. This is 2008. I had no clients, but I wrote down women. What is the thing that drives you bat spit crazy about your clients? So I wrote down, we give away our power constantly. Drives me crazy. What is the one thing you would tell your clients if you could, and they wouldn't fire you? And so I wrote down in giant letters, get off your knees, and I included myself in that. And he said, okay, what's the name of your business? And I went, Goodbye, Good Girl. And when
those 3 questions are brilliant.
Aren't they great?
I like those. Yes.
They're
okay.
Great. So
where
how
can
to
get a hold of you now?
Goodbyegoodgirl.com. If you want to write to me, ask me. I've got all kinds of things that you can come to, that some are free, some are paid, some are whatever. I'm here to support women, womenpreneurs. Goodbyegoodgirlproject@gmail.com.
Okay. All righty.
Easy peasy.
All right. Lori, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for the great questions. Thanks for being the badass of badasses.
All righty. See you soon. Bye-bye. And
Bye-bye.
Listeners, go back and write down some of the questions that Lori just told us about in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Those 3 questions are brilliant. I think that would do a lot just for some self-investigation. So other than that, we'll see you next week, and have a great one. Thank you for listening to another episode of Business Bada Revolution. Remember, as you're walking through your work week, being an entrepreneur shouldn't suck. Remember to like, share, follow, and subscribe. And oh, by the way, leave us a 5-star review. See you next time.